Settle back now, content, comfortable, well-fed, and ready for some fine entertainment. Is everybody happy? Then let's go. It's showtime.
Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
Most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it. The universal handle for the socials is @Cuse Militia. Go there, join the militia. We are the only Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. Welcome. Happy Wednesday, as it is. And
Hump day.
Hump day. And it is also your Pitt preview. Look, a couple things real quick. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast, and we appreciate all of you who already have. Apple is the most important one, but whatever you listen on, rate and review. We appreciate it. Previous episodes, the UNC post game. I had a couple listener call-ins. Thanks to David, Dom, and Gio for bearing with our technical issues during all of that. I think we got it figured out now. So anyway, I think I always say that after a call-in show. Well, we always do it different though, and I don't think I'm going to do it different anymore. Until the next
issue, right?
Right. Well, I don't think I'm going to do it different anymore though. So I think I do have it figured out. But anyway, they were my guinea pigs for this, and I appreciate that. You can check that out. Also, the third installment of the first season of Thai Thoughts is back out. That dropped yesterday, so you can go check that out as well. I think he's putting a little pressure on us, Joe. Talking about, he's the better podcaster and all this stuff. It's like it's too much pressure, man. It's too much. So
hey, I don't like to compare.
All right, so look, Joe's on time today. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
So everything's not a competition. Yes,
appreciate
I'm on time.
Yes, everything is a competition. Joe.
Okay,
everything is.
Fine.
As we mentioned in the last show when we were talking about Pitt, it's going to be really tough to gauge this team after they beat up on Austin P 55-0. But we're going to try. Well, Joe's going to try. And I just got some stats and stuff like that. This isn't going to be a big deep dive. It's very difficult right now to even gather information. Even early, like it being Tuesday, I looked around and I look everywhere Syracuse, and then I always look obviously at their sites too, the opposing team's sites. And It's just not a ton out this early most of the time. So anyway, we're going to get into all of that. And we might do a little game spread Joe BetOnline stuff with Joe, where we will see if Joe can bet the spreads for the games in the ACC this week. Okay? And I want to know what you think about Syracuse, up to 21 points at betonline.ag. So we're going to check that out as well. But first, before we get into all that, my son just came in here. That's why I lost my train of thought, which he usually does. Only when his mom's home, though. Does that make any sense to anybody? That the only time that kid comes in here is when his mom's home? No, Joe. No. You can say no. You don't have to shake your head. It makes no sense.
Hey, man. I don't have sides here. Keep fighting the good fight.
My gosh. All right. BetOnline, as you know, is the title sponsor for this show and Armchair Media, as well as Thai Thoughts, actually. And we welcome them. You know that football is back. And we've got all sorts of things. He's still got the NBA playoffs, which seems to never end. So I guess if you're an NBA fan, it must be great. But if you couldn't care less, it's like this thing's still going on. Either way, you could still go bet on it, which is great for those who like to do so. Now, you might not be able to attend a game this year, but you could still get in on all the action on BetOnline. BetOnline is going the extra mile to make sure you can get in on everything imaginable this season, from game spreads and totals to team, player, and coaching props. BetOnline gives you more options to wager than any other place online. You can get in on their season opening business today and start off wagering on win, division, and championship futures now. Head over to betonline.ag today and take advantage of all the great sign-up bonuses. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Now, I do have a special link for BetOnline. So we do not have a promo code, but I do have the link from the CEO of Armchair, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. And he sent that to me to give out to all of you. I've given it out a little bit here and there, but if you need it, hit me up on DM or however you do it, and I'll send that over to you. So, also, Manscaped. Look, look, we've talked about this before, okay? And it goes without saying, but you don't want to use the clippers below the belt and then have your buddy need a haircut, or like in Joe's case, his brother need a haircut, which he doesn't listen. So no. We can talk about this here, Joe. You want to tell that story?
There is no story. You're making it up.
Lawnmower 3.0 is a premium electric trimmer that is designed to give you a confidence boost through body image. Their ceramic blade and skin-safe technology are designed to reduce nicks and tugs below the belt. The Lawnmower 3.0 is also waterproof and comes with an LED light, so you can manscape in the shower in the dark or in the dark in the shower, as you know. They also just released the Shears 2.0 nail kit, which is a perfect add-on to their Lawnmower 3.0. The Shears 2.0 is a luxury 4-piece nail kit featuring tempered stainless steel tools, and it includes as follows: tip tweezers, rounded point scissors, fingernail clippers, and a medium grit nail file, just for show. So, the Shears 2.0 nail kit allows you to pluck your eyebrows or your nipple hair, like Joe, and also trim the nails in style. On their website, you can also get the crop preserver, anti-chafing, anti-swampiny crop preserver. It's no good. Use the crop preserver. It's great.
No bueno.
It's good stuff. And I have not mentioned this round with the Manscaped stuff, but the cologne. I mean, the cologne is great. It is great stuff. It smells great. You want to smell like a man? Use the Manscaped cologne. Go figure, right? Go to manscaped.com right now, and our listeners will get 20% off, plus free shipping when you use the promo code ARMCHAIR. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Just use the promo code ARMCHAIR. Thank you, Manscaped. Appreciate you. So, we're back. Joe can hear the bumper music. All is well. So, that's awesome. Yeah. All right, Joe. Look, not a whole lot to go off of here, but we can do the basics here. The overall series between Syracuse and Pitt sits at 40, 32, and 3 and dates back all the way to 1955. Inside the Dome, Syracuse is 20-7 against Pitt. According to Neil Adler over at Inside the Roundhouse, the Panthers have won 15 of the last 18 against Syracuse, which is that does not bode well. So the last 6 of the past 8 games have been decided by single digits. We remember the overtime. Was that overtime one 2 years in a row? Or there was one last year, right? A close one. I don't even remember.
Yeah, 27-20 last year.
Yeah, in the Dome, right? Yeah. So,
yep.
Since they both joined the ACC, Pitt is 8-1 versus Syracuse. And at Heinz Field, they're killing them 6-1 overall. So the only road win that Syracuse has against Pitt is during that time was in what was it, 2001, I think, the last win coming on the road for Syracuse. So
it's year I graduated high school.
Yeah, so that was a long time ago. So Joe, the stats on the Syracuse Pitt football matchup. Not so good. No. And when you look at it, I mean, Pat Narduzzi, he's won 3 out of 4 games against Dino Babers. So when you really look at it, it's one of those things where it seems like Pat's got his, I don't want to say got his number, but obviously he's winning the 3 out of 4, right? But Pitt is definitely going to be tough, and it's not even. It's hard to go off of last week, other than the fact that they blanked them. I've heard good things about their defense. When you sit there and you look at their depth chart down the line, in as far as seniors and juniors on their starting defense, you're talking about you got 8 out of the 11.
6 of them are seniors, 2 of them are juniors. So they have a senior-laden team on the defensive side, and really when you look over on the offensive side, Kenny Pickett's the most familiar name you're going to see when you look at their offense. He's been there for 3 years now. They lost their main running backs, their main receivers, but they do have depth. I know they have 4 running backs as far as I'm consistent. I've read they've got a 4-headed monster, but no one's really like separated themselves. So we're going to see different types of running backs, and we always see different types of plays, ends arounds, stuff like that with Pittsburgh anyway, guys coming in motion. But also they're getting Tazir Mack, receiver, and Lucas Kroll, their graduate. They're both transfers at receiver and tight end, respectively, and they're starting guys. They're getting them back. I don't think they didn't play against Austin Peay. And really, they didn't even have to really, I don't want to say try, but I don't know if you read it, but Pittsburgh and Austin Peay, they both agreed to play 10-minute quarters in the second half because of the way the game was going. So they actually shortened the game. And Pittsburgh had 6 touchdowns on the ground rushing the ball, and they really weren't in a war. When you went ahead and read some stuff on ESPN and everything, and some of Pat Narduzzi's quotes, and he's like, maybe Syracuse might have an upper hand because they've been in a war already. They've been in a 3/4 of a war against a ranked team. So, there is that whole situation of maybe our team's in a better situation or more prepared because of the fact that we've played some competition or better competition. But when you look at the rosters, this is an experienced team that I think probably has pretty high expectations for themselves. Obviously, they jumped into the top 25.
Right.
So
I was just about to say that.
Right. So again, it's going to be tough, but it's hard to tell when even when you look back at the NFL games because of not having the preseason games and not having the regular off season, you could tell the teams that hadn't really made too many changes on their team from the year before, they fared a little bit better versus teams that had some layover or a bunch of changes on their team. So on paper, Pittsburgh looks like a 21-point favorite against us. But again, the factor of them not, seeing enough reps and everything against good competition and against opponents.
Yeah. There's advantages and disadvantages to that, right? You hear Coach Babers talk about the owies, right? Well, we might have a couple owies.
Yeah. Well, that's just part of the game, right?
Sure, but I'm just saying, obviously,
Pittsburgh got to avoid them because of their opponent, right? Yeah.
Right, and not only that, but they got to sit some players. They were able to put third string quarterback in.
Right.
So, and, he was 3 for 5, so he was in there for, I don't know exactly. Look, I turned to 2 that game, and it was just a straight blowout. The only reason I even gave it any amount of time on my TV is because I knew we were playing them next, and I figured, well, I might as well see what I can learn. And I got to be honest with you, I didn't learn anything. I just know that they looked good, but when you go, this is what makes it hard doing this preview is because of the competition they played against. But I think that you can look at Syracuse playing against North Carolina as an advantage, and we talked about that. They're starting off with probably the second toughest team that they're going to play against. Right. And they were on the road. They're going to get to go back, evaluate, and see what they got. Pitt is not going to be able to go back and evaluate really and see what they got. Right. Obviously, they're a talented team. Kenny Pickett, I read a little bit about him from the Pittsburgh side. And, the writers and fans, they have kind of high expectations for him. I think Narduzzi said that he's going to go, he's going to have a long career in the NFL. But, that's arguable. But he definitely improved. Third year, you say he's a sophomore, right? So...
no, he's a senior.
He's a senior. Third year starting.
Third year starting.
Right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and he can run too. He's more mobile.
He's versatile.
He's more mobile than Sam Howell.
Yeah.
And they got some. I don't think the receivers are as good as North Carolina's receivers. Overall, when you look at it, when I look at the roster, I don't see a team that is as good as North Carolina's roster.
Oh, I don't think so either. And
I just think that they might have a better defensive front, and I see a lot of names that their defense is just senior laden. Like I said, their defense might be just as good, if not better. But I think the difference could be the fact of Kenny Pickett being able to run. If Sam Howell had the legs or the speed of Kenny Pickett, and I'm not saying that he's like a blazer like Lamar Jackson, but if he had that type of athleticism, then there could have been some plays that he would have been able to extend and that he would have been able to hurt us on the ground. And he just wasn't able to do that. And I just hope that we can do that and we can try to stop that, because we know they're going to try to ground and pound with their offensive line and with the running backs and with Kenny Pickett and everything. There's going to be play action, like I said before, receivers coming from, slot or whatever in motion and getting handoffs and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a different type of offense, but a good offense nonetheless. So
yeah, and you had 10 receivers with at least one reception, and only one of them with more than two for Pitt in the last game. So
yeah,
it was,
it's hard to look
Jordan
at their stats and see who's the guys, right? I mean, and that's one of those things, like you said, that's kind of an advantage, is that there might have been some guys that Babers saw on his sidelines where he knew maybe the moment was too big. He thought maybe we get this guy out here, see what he can do. Maybe he can have a role, and maybe he just felt from his body language, or maybe some guys did get in there and play some plays, and going off the tape, you can tell that they're definitely not ready, right? So again, like you said, we kind of got a test there where not only did our team get a little bit conditioned against playing other teams and being in a tight contest against good competition, but also, like you said, we're one step closer to being able to see who's going to be able to play, who's going to be able to help us this year, what roles people are going to have. And Pittsburgh really didn't get that with their first game. Yeah.
And, when you look at both of these teams coming into their second game, I think it's going to be fair to say too that Syracuse is going to your point, or Syracuse is going to be able to make more adjustments, better adjustments to improve. I think if you're going to look at on an improvement level, Syracuse is going to be the one that's going to be able to improve more. And I don't think Pitt is as good as North Carolina, and Syracuse hung with North Carolina until into the fourth quarter. And
right.
we talked about it at nauseum, and so that's got to change. So the offense is going to have to do something against possibly a tougher defense. So that's going to be your challenge once again, is getting the offense going. And, I mean, Joe, without a run game, how do you get the offense going for Syracuse without a run game? Add option in? Can DeVito run the option? I mean, what do you do?
I don't think – if DeVito runs a bunch of – designed run plays for him, then he's going to end up like last year. He's going to get banged up, and he's going to be playing through an injury, or he might not make it through the injury, or for the season.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
That's not a situation that we really need, right? So again, we've talked before, and
leading rusher last game though too. So
yeah, but there were a lot of those were scrambles to get out of there. So I'm cool when he does that. Right. Obviously that's where you need the quarterback to be able to use his legs, but. No, we've talked before, and I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but we talked about, sometimes being able to open up the run with the pass or the pass with the run, vice versa, right? And that's this year's it's essentially what we need to do. I don't know if we can run Jawar Jordan in between the tackles like we did last game. And hopefully Markenzie Pierre can get a little bit better with his pass protection, and maybe he can be the guy to come in and pound it. But
that's one thing I think changes. I think he's going to.
And I think that obviously I think we need to be able to use obviously our tight ends and short passes and stuff like that. That's kind of how you beat those kind of defenses. If they're going to be uber aggressive, not allow you to run and not give you any time, then you just got to get the ball out of your hands quick and just get the ball in open spaces for your guys to try to make somebody miss and make a play. You can't try to do too much. And that's kind of where we got to be at. We're not going to come out there. Tommy DeVito's not going to get 4+ seconds. We're not going to be able to just line up against them and just pound it down their throats. So we're going to have to be creative with this. And, again, it's hard to be positive after last week, right?
It's tough to be positive and another tough team, but I'm going to stay positive. We're going to go over the spreads. And it is the BetOnline Joe Picks of the week. I just made that up. What do you guys think? Pretty original, right? What do you guys think? You think that's pretty good, right? BetOnline Joe Picks for the week.
You make me sound like I'm some Swami or something.
Well, look. There's definitely been times where you were on your game, but there's definitely been times where you pulled a homer a lot and you screwed us last year a lot when Syracuse was struggling. But so this is why this year what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple more ACC teams into the mix, Joe.
Oh, nice. Okay. So I can go more than 0-1.
So we can
nice.
Give you a
disclaimer. I'm not telling people to spend money and bet.
True, but if they are going to go spend money and bet, you should do it over at BetOnline. Look, we know the deal. You've heard me talk about it endlessly, and I still got the same read, so I don't know what else to say other than this. I'm going to try to ad-lib here. Go over to BetOnline. I got the link. You need a special sign-up link. I got one. I don't have a promo code yet, but there will be one eventually. Go over there. They have the props on everything, man. I'm just sifting through the site here. You could go. It's easy to use, by the way. Much easier to use than another betting site that used to sponsor this program. Rhymes with by Schnooky. Okay? A little bit better than that. A little bit more organized. A little bit more user-friendly, especially from the phone. So, as we look at this, you've got all the virtual stuff. You've got all the sports, any sport that's obviously available and playing live. You have all of that, and you got politics. If you want to bet on politics, which is it's an odd thing, but you can bet on anything. Joe bets on The Bachelor. I mean, you think politics is weird? Joe bets on The Bachelor. So there's that. So head over to MyBookie
won money
right now.
too.
That's right. See? Head over there today. Take advantage of all the great sign-up bonuses. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Thank you, BetOnline. So, Joe.
I really don't watch The Bachelor.
Bachelorette, whatever it was. Whatever it was that you used to say you used to watch. Okay, so... Okay, let's do them out of order here. I'm going to do them out of order. There's a couple of these. There's a couple of ACC games that are playing out of conference. They're doing their non-conference games, so these are going to get better as we continue. But Syracuse getting 21 points, Joe. As of now, we mentioned that. What do you think? Can Syracuse pull it together enough to at least be bettable?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too.
I think it's. I mean, if this was down to maybe 19, somewhere between 17 and 19, I'd be nervous. But even in the past years, when Pittsburgh's so-called had our number, like you said, I think only once or twice in the last 10 years have they beat us by more than 21 points. So, and just based upon what we just talked about in last week and competition and everything that's been going on as far as not a normal off season. Yeah, I think that we'll be able to cover it. I see a very similar game just as last week. I just hope that it doesn't get out of hand late.
Yeah, right. Gotta sustain some offensive drives. I mean, plain and simple. So, okay, Syracuse plus 21. All right, Boston College at Duke, Joe. Boston College getting 5.5 points on that one. This is a kind of a tough one because I haven't seen Boston College yet. I got to be honest. I did not catch them. I did catch Duke last week
that's because they haven't played
Notre Dame. Okay, well, there you go. They haven't? Mm-mm. Oh, their non-conference game was canceled, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But I did see Duke against Notre Dame. They held their own for a little bit. Not too shabby.
Right.
So they're giving Boston College 5.5. What do you think?
Honestly, I think I'm going to take the points.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to go Duke.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm surprised by both of those. You like that? Really?
Well, I mean, we got to pick one of them, right? Sorry.
I know,
now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, doesn't Boston College have a new coach this year? Didn't they get rid of Adagio?
Bro, you're putting me on the spot there. I'm not sure.
Oh, come on.
I can't speak to that. Sorry.
No.
This is a Syracuse sports podcast, not a Boston College / ACC podcast, Joe. Okay. Do we want to do Notre Dame? Here's the big question. Do we even talk about Notre Dame as an ACC team, or do we just skip them for the rest of the year during this segment? Because
I think I'd be cool with doing that, unless they're playing an ACC team, of course.
Okay. Well, they're playing out of conference. So we're going to skip over them. Central Florida at Georgia Tech, Joe. Georgia Tech getting 7.5. Is that a little crazy or what?
No, Central Florida, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Central Florida's a good team. Yeah, I'm going to go Georgia Tech.
Okay. With the point.
And I'm just going to go just based upon the situation of, I think,
Aren't
just
they
everything.
Changing their whole offense around, though?
What's that?
Oh, no, that's...
Didn't Georgia Tech just beat Florida State? I'm pretty sure they came back and beat Florida State the other day. So I know Central Florida's a good team, but I think I'm going to be, especially early in the season, I think if I had to, and you had to put a gun to my head to actually bet, I think that I would go with a team that has already played.
16-13 Georgia Tech.
Yeah, a team that's already played. I know Georgia Tech, everyone's making a big deal about, they changed up their triple option. It's only their second year out of the option, and they don't have the the offense, but their defense is still really good.
But
receivers, and then to do with the defense.
Receivers still go there, too, for whatever reason. We've talked about that last year. They got decent receivers, which is crazy. But
that's where Kelvin Johnson went. That's where Jamarius Thompson went.
So, they did change up their offense, but they're still going to be good. I think they're going to be better changing themselves up other than just being one-dimensional like they have been.
If Central Florida already played a game, then this would be tough. Because I do believe that Central Florida's actually got a better offense than Florida State, or either of them, really. But I think it's a lot to do with, again, just not being in that war yet, not playing. And Georgia Tech's still big boy football. I don't care what they changed their offense. They got a top 20, 25 recruiting class last year, and their defense hasn't changed. So
okay. Here's an easy one. Charlotte at North Carolina. Charlotte getting 29.5 points.
If North Carolina can beat us like that, then I think they can beat Charlotte like that. So
does Charlotte score a touchdown against North Carolina?
The funny thing is probably, yeah.
That's funny to you?
Not really, but North Carolina will score a lot more points.
I'm skipping the Citadel at Clemson, by the way, which is a 44.5 point spread.
Clemson.
Miami, Florida at Louisville, plus 2.5 for Miami.
Wow, that's going to be a good game. That would be game of the week right there.
There's another one. There's another one that's pretty good on here too, ACC game. So, but that one is good.
Man, I would have to go. You said it's Miami and Louisville?
Miami in Louisville, plus 2.5 for Miami.
Damn. I think I'm going to go Miami, man, to be perfectly honest with you.
Okay. I mean, I might bet against that.
I mean, I would go against. Well, I watched their game.
Yeah.
And I saw their quarterback. They have and I remember watching him, and he was transferred from Houston. He got hurt, transferred. Derek King. He is fast.
Okay.
If he goes to the NFL, he's going to be a receiver. So,
really?
I mean, that's probably the situation where what we're looking at. So he's very fast, and I know Louisville's got a good offense as well. That's going to be a great game, but Louisville hasn't played yet. And staying strong with my theory this week, I'm going with the teams that have already played, so long as the spread's close enough.
Sure. True. I understand that. All right. Wake Forest at NC State. Wake Forest getting 2.5. This is I'm just NC State at home with the 2.5. It's almost a wash. I'd take NC State in that.
You said that. What was the spread again? Go ahead.
2.5 for Wake Forest.
Wake Forest is
plus 2.5 for Wake Forest.
Going by my theory, Wake Forest.
Okay. All right. That's it.
They played Clemson 37-13 last week. Could have been worse. And North Carolina State, last time I knew, as far as last year goes, they didn't have a quarterback. I felt like we beat them pretty easily. And, I can definitely see a situation where Wake Forest has really no problem with them.
Okay. All right. That's it. Cool.
By the way, Boston College does have a brand new head coach, too. So that's partly the reason why I'm going that route. You had Chase Bryce into the mix, and that they actually gave, what did they lose, 27-14 to Notre Dame. And Boston College hasn't played a game, and they have a new head coach. I'll probably go Duke. Okay.
What's your game of the week? You think, like you said, Miami, Louisville?
If you're talking ACC, yeah.
Yeah. I'm only talking ACC. Okay.
Yeah. That would be the game that I'm minus obviously the Syracuse game. That would be the game that it would be on my radar.
Right. And real quick before we leave, let's end with the Big Ten is going to play football, which we already knew they were going to play football. So why?
Did we?
I did.
Did we?
What are you talking about?
Created a ridiculous. Yeah. What do you mean you did? How did you know?
What do you mean we talked about this? Huh? No, but we definitely talked about this.
But they talked about how they were going to start late They didn't
Well,
say
they weren't canceling the season.
Though.
Yeah, I know, but they were talking. We were thinking rumblings of, first of all, nothing was being said, and then it was rumblings of maybe November. Well, now it's the beginning, the front end of October.
Yeah,
so,
and the worst thing about this too is really what it comes down to is transparency, and I think it's the issue that, as a Syracuse fan and transfers and stuff with the NCAA, obviously we've had issues with. There's been issues with the NCAA and transparency and how they pick tournament teams for basketball, and transparency on who's getting waivers. And now you have a conference who didn't give the parents or the schools or the coaches or anybody transparency on what was really going on.
Nothing.
I mean, they just jumped. They were the first schools to say that they were going to change their schedule or something, right? That they're only going to play conference. And then a week later, they said, "Oh, we're not going to play."
How can it be anything other than just?
And then parents and coaches come together and they may have petitions. They this, they that, and nope, we're not going to revisit this.
So what's that tell you? What's that tell you?
Then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, well, I'm just saying. I've already seen it. Like McCaffrey's son, who played for Michigan, he's opting out and he's transferring. There's a whole bunch of other players that opted out, said even if they play, then they're not going to come back. I'm sure some will, but this decision, honestly, it's not a good look for the Big Ten.
No, it's horrible. It's horrible, and I feel terrible for the players, the coaches, and the fans. But we still haven't been given a reason other than it's not safe. But it does not. There's really nothing that says it's not safe. I mean, we're playing sports all over the place right now. These kids are getting taken care of. They're getting tested. It's supposed to be in the ACC? It's 3 times a week, right? So you gotta play in a bubble, and you've got to do your part as a player,
right?
And that's pretty much it. Okay.
Yeah, there's going to be rules. There's going to be protocols.
Right.
Play by the rules and protocols, and everything will be fine, right? Hypothetically, obviously.
on paper, it seems fine. Yeah, sure. But the thing about it is they never really got a reason. It just makes you think that they didn't really have one, and I don't know what they were.
And the only reason they're doing it now is because other people are doing it.
Yeah, and they had the pressure to come back, and so someone forced their hand. But they thought they were going to be. They thought they were going to be the ones to set the standard, and everybody else was going to crumble, but they didn't.
Yeah, pretty much.
They didn't. The ACC was like, we're playing. I mean, I don't know if the ACC even floundered a little bit. I mean,
or the SEC. That's really like
you knew the SEC wasn't
really
going to.
And everyone's got little different areas and different pockets where they are geographically, and everyone's had their own situations with COVID and coronavirus and everything, right? So it's a geographic base by base type situation, So it doesn't have to be just because I do it now everyone's got to do it, or vice versa, right? So
right.
And that's really, They see that it works, and now they don't want to be the little kid staring at everyone playing outside the window, right?
Yeah, exactly. In the amount of, money rules all college sports, and they're losing it big time right now. So,
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. You wonder if that recruit that we just got the other day, if that wasn't because of some of this.
Could be.
You look at it,
Michigan was on there, wasn't it?
Well, no, it was Penn State.
That's right. It was Penn State.
South Florida was in there most likely because it's his hometown, and they were probably recruiting him hard. And then Arizona State was in the Pac-10 or 12, and I feel bad for them because, at this point...
Well, the Pac-12 is going to come back. They're the next shoe to drop. They're going to
Well, they say that, but, at this point right now, there's a bunch of colleges that even if they could play last weekend, wouldn't have been able to because of the wildfires. So there's certain situations other than coronavirus that are hindering some other schools in the Pac-12. But, when push comes to shove and you look at it, you just wonder if that had anything to do with some of the players' decisions or that player specifically, Arande's, pick to come to us. So
yeah, well, like we talked about, those decisions by the Pac-10 and are the Big Ten and the Pac-12 were going to affect recruiting. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did, and that could have been one of them. So, hey, look. When they realized everybody else was going to play the SEC and the ACC, man, they were probably like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to play, and we knew they probably were at some point. But anyway, all right, that's it. That's all we got. We appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you to BetOnline.ag and Manscaped. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out of here.
Pete.
Thanks for listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.